Barbara Arnwine is on the line with us. She is the president of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law, the website lawyerscommittee.org. Barbara, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be invited to be on.
So pleased to have you with us. The big question, I guess, is, will there be justice for Trayvon Martin? The trial is over. The stand your ground law is still in place in Florida. The jury instructions were quite different under the stand your ground law than they were prior to 2006 when that law was passed. The self-defense defense was allowed by this judge, whereas many suggest that, actually Florida law suggests that if a person initiates the process that leads to their needing to defend themselves, they can't use a self-defense defense. Don West talked her into taking that off the table. There seems to be a lot of problems with this, but double jeopardy seems to prevent any kind of a legal solution, at least with regard to criminal law.
Well, actually not. There are the criminal civil rights charges that are still available to the federal government to pursue. So the federal government has the right to pursue this case, under the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Hate Crimes Act, and they have the right to look at, other possible, statutes that allow them to pursue civil rights criminal charges for someone who has violated civil rights.
Do I understand this correctly, that if the federal government can demonstrate that George Zimmerman profiled Trayvon Martin based on his race and then killed him as a consequence of that profiling, that he denied him the civil right of his life, basically?
Well, basically, that's one argument. Another argument, clearly, under the Hate Crimes Act is that the very process of racially profiling, committing a criminal act, and using a firearm, which exacerbates the law, also is another possibility here. And once again, it's all going to depend on, what the Justice Department, what evidence that they have in front of them, what they believe is going to, be necessary to prove this case. My understanding, I was on a call today, not more than an hour ago, with the Department of Justice that they held to explain some of the considerations that they are trying to balance as to what they're going to do. And interestingly, one thing they said they're doing is that they're setting up a new internet hotline, an email, I should say, email address. And that email address is going to be sanford.florida@usdoj.gov, and they're asking people who have any information on this matter to, email them. They're asking people who have questions to email them, but they're seeking to really do a thorough investigation here, and they had already started the process of investigating before they suspended the investigation, but they want to renew. So they're going to be looking, heavily at the evidence. They're going to be looking at the evidence they accumulated a year ago, and they're going to be looking at the evidence that any new evidence that comes to comes to bear. They're going to also clearly be looking a lot at Mr. Zimmerman's background.
Barbara, there's a political dimension to this that frankly scares the hell out of me. When we have the first African American president in the history of the United States, on the one occasion that he used a curse word on television, which was about a year and a half ago in a TV interview, he used the word damn. The screaming headline at the top of Drudge over a darkened picture of Barack Obama, of President Obama, was Obama goes street, with street in quotes. I'm assuming you know this that you remember this. I mean, there is the Drudge Report, the right wing, the whole Glenn Beckistan blowback to this administration with an African American president and an African American attorney general, if they decide to go after George Zimmerman, is going to be mind-boggling. Do you think that? How do you think they're dealing with the political and legal equation of that? Or do you think that I'm just like way off base in my concern about this? That my fear that they're not going to go near this because President Obama is trying so hard to be seen as, as post-racial?
Well, I think it was significant that when he issued his statement the other day, that he stayed away from, making any statements that would be prejudicial to the Department of Justice's ability to bring a case. So clearly, yes, that statement was written with the eye towards the possibility of a case, being brought if necessary, if in fact the evidence, supports it. So I thought that statement was carefully worded. And when I read it, I said, okay, so at least he's clearly leaving the door open, that he's been advised to do so. Otherwise, if he had, been a little bit more, angrier, or let's say if he had, made more blatant statements, that would have, probably signified that they weren't going to pursue this case.
Yeah, we have,
But I agree with you. You never know in the universe that we live in. You never know how people are going to react. I still tell people every day that the most beautiful consequence of this entire incident has been seeing the multiracial crowds that have united to protest the injustice of the outcome of Zimmerman being found not guilty, and seeing young whites, young blacks, young Latinos, young Asians, young and old, of all races and genders, coming together and walking the streets and calling for justice for Trayvon has been just unheard of, just beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. If you compare those pictures to the pictures of the 60s, nothing compares to it.
And yet, I'm doing a talk radio show here, and I can tell you I've got 12 callers on the board. It's the number of lines we have, and I'm looking, and every single one is full right now. And I have a couple of words that Danielle gathers from each person about what they want to say. One of them is saying liberals are just trying to create more hate. George Zimmerman was innocent. Another one is saying the shooting was racially motivated. Trayvon was standing his ground. In other words, he was in the wrong. I mean, I had a white caller call me a little earlier saying that boy should not have been in that neighborhood. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that is coming out of the white community right now.
Well, it's the American racial dynamic. It's the American racial reality. We are a racialized society. We have never dealt with, racism. We have never put to bed, the past of racism, and we have certainly not put to bed our present.
Yes.
That is pervasive throughout our society. It's just the reality, and that we gotta, the more we try to say race doesn't matter, the more it matters.
I agree. I think this whole trial from the white corporate press twisting themselves into pretzels to say there's no race here, to both the prosecution and defense saying there's no race issue here. I thought it was all about race.
Exactly, and in fact, it was terribly about race. It was even about race to the defense. I mean, the defense, interestingly, used race when they, used as part of their justification for Mr. Zimmerman's actions by saying,
especially at the end when they whip out that picture of Trayvon. I mean, it's...
There you go.
Barbara Arnwine. I'm sorry, Barbara, we're out of time. LawyersCommittee.org. Please check it out. Hold on just a second, Barbara.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Please go to LawyersCommittee.org for more information. Be sure to check out the website. Barbara Arnwine, thank you, Barbara, for being with us.
Thank you so much.
It is so good talking with you. I wish you the very best.